Well, I told you I'd try to get a new episode out of every week. Emphasis on the word try. Okay, let's talk about the Avengers. No, not those Avengers. I mean the original Avengers. No! I mean, how can I put this so there won't be another mistake? British Avengers. British television Avengers. And no, I'm not talking about some weird spin-off Marvel did at some point that's been buried. No. Sadly, the first team to bear his name, well, we won't be talking about them. Mainly because all their episodes are lost. But they weren't superheroes. But they were spy-fi. In case you're wondering what that term means, and I'm sure many of you don't, as sadly this is becoming a more and more forgotten program, it was a term used to describe this and various other television programs that used the spy formula of, say, James Bond and crossed it with science fiction elements. James Bond itself would dip into it was very popular in the 1960s, so popular in fact that James Bond itself would dip into it, if both You Only Live Twice and Moonraker, and arguably Die Another Day. But the specific show I'm talking about is the British television program from the 1960s that also has aired repeatedly on American television via PBS and sometimes major networks. Its most popular run is what we're going to be talking about today, the first episode of that run. It starred Patrick Macnee and Diana Rigg. Patrick Macnee was originally on the show a supporting character. However, when the series' original star left after one season, after the 1961 original season, Patrick Macnee was promoted to series lead. He went from the series underwent a metamorphosis. It had started as a sort of tough spy series, from what I understand. I say from what I understand because, like many British programs, including Doctor Who, there are many early episodes just plain missing. If they weren't sold overseas, they're gone. Sadly, this is true for the first 3 or so seasons of the Avengers. Unlike Doctor Who, we do not have audio recordings of these early seasons to help us fill in the blanks. Best we can do is have summaries and look at scripts, from what I understand. However, we aren't talking about those early years today. The series became very popular once Patrick Macnee was teamed up with Honor Blackman. Their partnership was full of a lot of friction, as Honor Blackman's character of Kathy Gale did not approve of John Steed's tougher spy method, tougher, more professional spy methods, or his seemingly lack of morality. She tended to argue the moral side of the equation in a story. He tended to be practical. However, Patrick Macnee had been moving his character closer and closer to being a parody, well, almost parody, I should say, more of a loving homage to the typical British gentleman. Once Honor Blackman left to make the James Bond film Goldfinger, and this would not be the first or last time an Avengers star would leave the show to do a James Bond film, Patrick Macnee's new co-star was introduced in the following episode, and she was an immediate hit. They originally had a different actress cast in the role, but they reshot the whole episode once they decided that they had made a terrible mistake. And I think you're going to see why here. Diana Rigg turned out to be the most perfect casting choice I think ever made for a TV show. She and Patrick Macnee would remain friends for the rest of their lives, and they hit it off almost immediately on the set, and it shows. Gone was the tough tension of the Kathy Gale years. In came crazy spy-fi with a lot of playful sexual tension and puns and playful banter. And the show had definitely moved into camp territory. One interesting side note: the Avengers shares a creator with Doctor Who. Sidney Newman helped create both shows. And I think it shows you have some sort of representative of the establishment put together with a gifted amateur, and they have random adventures each week. And in both cases, the series moved around the same time, the mid-1960s. The series moved from a more serious tone that it started with a new star moving into more playful tones. And both times, Sidney Newman at first thought it was a bad idea, only to, once he saw the results, say, "Why weren't we doing it this way to begin with?" But I could go on and on and on about the Avengers, mainly because, well, I have a whole book about the making of the show. And I'll probably get around to reviewing the various home video releases of the series, and which ones I think are the best value for your money at some point. But now let's take a trip down my memory lane and take a look at the Town of No Return. The first Emma Peel episode, and the first episode I ever saw on VHS. Please, YouTube, do not copyright claim this. I have tried to promote a series that the more I talk about it, the fewer people seem to know about it. Please. This will only help your sales. U.S. distributor Lionsgate, I am trying to help your sales of these.